All right, brother, I think we're rolling. That's what I'm talking about. Party Marty, I missed you, my man. How you doing?
I miss you too, brother. I'm doing great.
Dude, I just saw you starting to push out the sponsors for the festival and whatnot, getting that stuff together. Is this the part of the year where like your mind's just exploding with shit you have to do? Or do you
Oh,
kind of
summer is so nuts.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
gonna be Glacier Valley Music Fest, and shortly after that is 3 weekends of Summerfest, and then a whole bunch of patio and summer shows.
yeah, why do you do that to yourself? Why do you put Glacier Valley like right before Summerfest in such like a bombardment?
With festivals in the summer, you kind of have to pick your weekend, and you got to not run into other festivals weekends, and you got to, you have to fit it in between things. We're at a campground, so we do it on a weekend that's not a big camping weekend. So we
Yeah,
go between Memorial Day and Father's Day.
that makes sense. It's like you need to have as much clearance at the actual grounds as possible. And how many years now you been doing the fest?
This will be year number 9.
That's awesome, man. Will year 10 be a different type of blowout, or is it just like we just need to make it to year 10 kind of a deal?
The day after year 9, you can ask me that question.
Fair enough, brother. It's such a cool thing too, because that's like it's your family's campground that you've been going to your whole life, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
where do
not my whole life. My family bought it in 2014.
Gotcha. And where do a lot of the attendees kind of come from? Just the greater music community of that part of Wisconsin, or are these fans of yours from all over?
A lot of southern Wisconsin, Madison, Milwaukee, Janesville, but there's a lot of campers that just come from the camping community. The place has like 100 sites for RVs. So a lot of people who do the RV thing in Wisconsin, they know about the events, and they're like, oh, a music festival. Okay, we'll come to this one.
Gotcha. So it's more of the RVing community has a culture like where are we bopping around for the summer? I know they got this festival. Has it always been that weekend because of the slot issue?
It has always been that weekend.
That's dedication, brother. It's like the
Yeah.
first year you think about changing everything, but it's like that's like the hard nosed part. Like, well, no, we're keeping this shit. We gotta stay locked down.
Well, there's other festivals in Wisconsin too, and we don't want to do the same weekend as some of our other friends' festivals, and we don't want to have to worry about booking the same bands or fighting over which bands to book.
Yeah. I adored seeing your set last year when you came out as the Village People. That shit was awesome. But dude, was it Trash Panda?
Trash Pandas, yep.
Yeah, dude, they went hard. That shit still rocks my mind to this day.
Yep, they're going to be doing a headlining spot this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are there any other acts that you're super excited about having back, or any new acts that you're bringing in?
We have this act called Steven Sokella's one-man band. Oh, sorry, Steven Sokella's overpopulated one-man band. This guy has a helmet with a symbol on it. He just goes like this and plays. He plays an accordion. He's got drums on his feet. He's got horns and whistles and stuff. He's from Duluth, Minnesota. He rides a unicycle. He walks on stilts.
Where do you find these motherfuckers?
Relentless wormholing on Facebook and YouTube.
The dedication is true. I met a fellow there last year that he plays drums on like a Chicago-based band that he runs off a Game Boy. It's all like do you know who I'm talking about? I can't remember this fellow's name, and I've been wanting to plug his shit.
I don't. Are you talking about OGs? Because that band writes a lot of music for like anime and cartoons and stuff.
No, this guy was like, I want to say his first name was Bobby something. And he told me he's like
Shields.
Bobby Shields, yes.
Yeah. He was in the band. Hold on, I gotta think of it.
I think I were already facing computers. Get in there, brother.
Right. I have a spreadsheet from last year.
You do not strike me as a spreadsheet type of guy. You
I am so organized. It's not even funny. And I have
really?
to be.
Okay, fair enough. When you're putting on something as large as this, like how many attendees did you have last year?
Probably between 500 and 600.
Damn, dude. There was nothing more beautiful than like arriving there and like feeling like the energy of what was going on and things were like they were top tier. And I'm like, where the fuck is Marty? Like, I gotta ask him a question about where to park my car. And you come 45 miles an hour on a golf cart, slam on the brakes, and you're like, just so you know, you're going to park on a more flat surface if you're sleeping in your car. I'm like, pro tip, that's what I needed, brother. So I got a much better spot, and you can just feel everyone's so excited to be there. You know, it's such a loving event that you've curated.
Yeah, we kind of create this whole community for one weekend.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. Bobby Shields is in the band Baron Von Future.
Cool.
And they do a show with like visuals on a TV and stuff.
They just announced a show, I think, around me that I need to get hip to. But I always see that band. I've always been like, I don't know when I followed this, but I'm into it. You know, I'm here for it. Bobby
Shields. That's why you met him
at
Glacier Valley.
Yeah, what a great dude. Also, your bass player that did the Secret set last year, that shit was psychedelic. What's his name again?
That's Andy Glass and his band Honey Fingers.
Very nice. What a great band name. That needs to be trademarked sooner rather than later if it's hitting the internet in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. So what's going on with like the summer gigging and whatnot? Have you already filled out that schedule? Are you filling holes? You doing any touring?
I'm pretty much sticking to weekends in the summer because I do teach Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
But man, my weekends are getting packed. I just booked one weekend that's got 5 shows. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Nice. Well played, my brother. And
like you said, I don't know why I do this to myself.
It's because you got a sort of energy that demands that you keep it a little bit manic. You know what I mean? Like that's why you're very organized because it's got to be chaos. You know,
it's true.
What's the teaching like right now? How many students you got?
I got about 30 students. We just finished what the students do, like where they prepare a solo and play it for judges, which is like a big thing every year. It's called Solo Ensemble Festival.
Mm-hmm.
So they prepare a solo and they practice it for like 3 months. And they play it for a judge. And like this is like the one time somebody that's not their friend or family is telling them that they're good at drums. It's awesome. And their faces light up and they're like, oh my gosh, I am good. You're not just being nice to me.
Yeah. And do you teach strictly drums?
I do. I do teach some beginner guitar, and I do teach percussion. So like xylophone and stuff like that.
Yeah. And how, so drums, like kit is your first instrument, right?
Yeah.
And when did you dive into xylophones and like auxiliary percussion? Is that like a high school band kind of deal?
Yeah. When I was doing middle school and high school band, I got into that stuff. And then when I started getting serious and wanting to do it around college, I realized that maybe I shouldn't fake it with the xylophone stuff.
So did you go to like a collegiate level for like marching band and things like that? Or did you stick with just like concert band?
I chose to go to a college that teaches contemporary music.
Cool.
So I went to a place called Musicians Institute in Hollywood, California.
No way. How long did you do that?
That was a 2-year school, and we learned drum set.
Yeah.
We learned pop and rock and R&B and hip hop and jazz and everything.
So why don't I see you playing drums in your own band that often? Like that's only like a very rare occurrence that you'll party Marty on a kit.
You know, after I went to school for drums, I realized that like nobody wants to see a solo drummer out at a show.
Yes, yeah.
So I had to learn some guitar and singing.
Fair enough.
Because I could never find other musicians that were as dedicated to making a living out of it as I was.
Yeah. Well, and you have a similar thing to what I do with like a very large roster of players that they're part of the Dirtbags that will come in, play a show, move around. I know you're playing bass most of the time, but you play a little guitar, so I'm going to move you over today. You're going to be on drum set. Is that also part of just keeping it fresh for you as a band leader?
It really does keep it fresh for me. I've got a couple guys that I call my A-team, and they know the songs so well. And then I'll bring in somebody who's like brand new, and it'll kind of keep me down to reality. Like, oh, we're not doing the specific things. We got to do the general things again.
Yes. And when you're teaching guys the set, is that all in person? Let's start playing the song. I'll call stuff out to you. Or do you kind of have a Dirtbags packet? And it's like, this is the majority of the show. Cool. Organize this.
I've got the drummer set list that tells you, okay, for this song, you play Boom Chick and you stop for the tagline. That's like all the instructions they get.
And how many pages is this Dirtbags?
It's one. It's like a set list with little notes on it.
Yeah, and it's just the original material.
And you go halftime for the bridge.
Yeah, and do you do that for just the original material?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So
the covers I play are all like #1 top 40 hits.
Yeah, and you should know what you're getting into with those. Like listen to the song close enough to the record.
Yep.
So did you start songwriting after you'd gone to the Musicians Institute, or were you writing songs as a drummer with no chordal?
So I picked up a guitar in high school, like maybe around 14 years old, but I could never play a complete song until I was like 21.
That's incredible.
So I was always writing songs, but like I was never any good. But like the exercise was there.
Yeah.
And then in 2016, I think I did this thing called Song a Week, where I tried to write a song every single week of the year. I think I got like 40 out of the 52 weeks. And out of those 40 songs I wrote, I came out with a 16-song album with 16 songs that I thought were all bangers.
That's awesome. And what a great way to set yourself up for success. Like, I'm not going to choose 40 tunes to put out. I'm not going to choose 20 tunes. We're going to really refine this down. And is that a lot of what the live show is now?
Yeah, a lot of those songs that I did in 2016 that I wrote are still the ones that exist today because I chose out of that pool and I got those ones. And then I got those awesome songs and I've kind of slacked on songwriting since.
Yeah.
I've gotten 3 or 4 originals that are pretty awesome that I've released since then. But for the most part, that big pool from 2016 I've been pulling from.
Yeah. And has there been anything in the recent works that you're really excited about? Or is this kind of like, I need to keep the set list pretty typical for the guys in the band that are going to be playing it? On the acoustic gigs, maybe you mess around a little bit, but not a lot of dedicated songwriting time, or this single's coming?
Yeah, there's things that pop in every now and then. Like 2 years ago, I wrote the big hit that we play, the smash hit.
Yes, dude, you're set.
Called Two Wieners at Once.
The hot dog anthem of America.
I hope so. I'm hoping to sell it for $1 million.
I think at some point you're going to be able to like stop the Oscar Mayer truck, and you're going to be able to make the music video that does take this to the next level.
I sure as hell hope so.
How do you feel like one thing that I'll say about your live show is that your engagement with the culture that you've curated about your own band, but the way you bring people into it. I mean, you have a small cult of brewing, okay? And I would wonder, do the people that get in the hot dog costume end up being more dedicated fans than others?
In the hot dog, is that like the initiation? Is getting in the
is that costume? The indoctrination that this cult has? I mean, is that the gang initiation?
There's many different ways that the wiener costume kind of messes with people's psychology. So there's shows like the one when I came to play with you. There's shows where I put people in the wiener costume and they had no idea what was coming.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, okay, I guess I'll dance a little bit.
Yeah.
And then there's people that come to shows and they beg to be the wieners. Oh, can I be the wiener? Can I do it tonight? Yep, you're the one.
Are those repeat customers normally?
I try not to, but sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, some people are just like, if it's a big show and I want to have one killer dog and then one newbie, it's like, let's put a pro with an amateur and see how they skate together. I mean, it's like Blades of Glory,
Sometimes I'll be like, all right, somebody get these costumes, and somebody will grab them both and put one on and be like, who's going to do it with me? And sometimes I'll leave it up to people. I'll just be like, I need volunteers.
And you just wait on stage till somebody comes for it?
Yeah. So what I do now is I put these wiener costumes in a ukulele case. And I hold the ukulele case up saying, I need volunteers. And then lately people have been coming up thinking that, oh, I'm going to play an instrument with them. Okay, we'll do this. And no, I'm going to embarrass you way more.
Yeah. Dude, I've been the wiener one time in Cleveland at Coda, and me and Garrett Zimmerman, the guy I wore it with, are forever bonded by that moment. I mean, like, we're way closer friends because of how brutal that experience was. And it's not like you put on a hot dog costume and you dance for the pop song length of 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Oh, no.
Marty watches the back of your head and says, when are they done? When are they really done? When are they begging to get out of this? I have 5 more verses, motherfucker.
Yep. And we just keep going until it's too awkward.
Don't you claim that you've never written that song down? It's always new.
It's every single time it's improv.
Completely?
Completely. I've got kind of a little storyline that I follow, like for the first couple, and then it just goes off and turns into something else.
And was this one of the 2016 songs, or was this a live show antic that turned into your mega smash super hit song?
This was a true story. I was cooking 2 hot dogs over a fire, literally one night, at a campfire at Glacier Valley Campground. Cooking 2 hot dogs, and I sang 2 wieners at once. And I just thought to myself, that's good. And then the next morning, when I got out of my tent, I looked up at the tree and there was 2 woodpeckers. And I was just like, 2 peckers. And I was just like, I need to get my guitar right now. And I started writing this song.
Dude, it is the funniest part of the cult of personality that is Party Marty. Is like, now I'm on the inside. Now I know the bits coming up. I know what it's like to be in that fucking suit. I know what it smells like. I know you wash them every once in a while. But like, seeing someone be handed this costume is such a moment in time for someone that has been around the dirtbags, and it's inspiring. It's hilarious.
Yeah, a lot of people that have seen the show, when I say, all right, this song is my smash hit, they look around and like they know what's coming. And then you can see the faces of the people who are like, smash hit, what does he mean?
Yeah. Dude, your celibate is so good. And then you have your other smash hit. What's your other smash hit?
There's a couple. There's I'm Cheap and there's Dirtbags.
Yes. I'm Cheap, and the branding behind that, $5 t-shirts handmade by Party Marty. Like, there's certain things that you do that really have propelled you into this this cult of personality. I think of when your name pops into my head, and it's really the $5 t-shirt and the hot dog costume. It's like, it's brilliant branding.
Yeah, who else can say that that's their trademark, is $5 t-shirts and a hot dog costume?
Dude, well, how long have you been doing the t-shirts? Maybe like 6 or 7 years. Gotcha. And what kind of bulk do you make these things in?
I crack them out. I put them out on the lawn, and I just do a bunch of tie-dyes. And then all the tie-dyes that get done, I lay them out on the lawn and stencil. Yeah. So I might do like 20 or 30 in a day.
Yeah. It's so genuine that you know this guy made these t-shirts and he's bringing to you, and he's selling them. He's probably losing money on the venture when it comes to time, the cost put into these kind of things. Yeah, exactly. It's very,
I mean, if my time is free, I'm still close. But if my time costs money, I'm definitely losing money.
I mean, what's the cheapest you'll do labor for? You know what I mean? Like minimum $25 an hour.
Right.
But it's such a great testament to who you are and like what that song is trying to tell people. Like, it's not that you're cheap. It's that you're trying to make this as approachable as possible for anybody. Like, you are such a warm-hearted dude. And those t-shirts are like, you put this on, you're wearing the fruit of the labor of this maniac that has a catalog of songs that you will fall in love with. And I'll say, like, the first time I saw your show was jarring. The second time, I liked it. The third time, I loved it. Now I'm so excited to see Party Marty at Summerfest. I'm losing my mind about it. That's what I was like, we just got to talk for a little bit.
Yeah, and we'll have the full band that day, and that'll be cool. And at Summerfest, it's different because it's not like my crowd is there.
Yeah.
These are all complete strangers.
These are all people on that I don't know what I just saw kind of statue.
They don't even know what the name of the guy on stage is. They've never even heard the words Party Marty. But all of a sudden they walk by on the path, and what are these 2 wiener costumes? Or why is everybody playing baby tambourines?
Dude, the baby tambourines is the quickest way to ruin a party, but you do it really well. Like, how do you
see? There's a thing about the baby tambourines where I'm a drum teacher, so I have learned to not go with their offbeats. Whereas most musicians, like, I don't leave the tambourines out while other bands are doing their set. Because sometimes when some drunkard is offbeat, some musicians can't ignore that on stage.
Yeah, dude, I got a super fan that I love the guy. He's a good dude. He claps during a lot of songs, and he strictly claps on 1 and 3, and in the worst iteration of 1 and 3, where it's like 1's late, 3's ahead, just can't get it. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ! I'm trying to build a loop right now, brother. Like, lay off.
Trying to screw me up.
Dude, well, yeah, and you really do build a tolerance to that kind of thing. I can only imagine as a drum teacher how that does happen. You know, like the first year must be fucking brutal.
I mean, when I do drum lessons, I have 2 drum sets. And so I'm here and the student's here. And if the student is slowing down, I got to keep the tempo to show him that he's slowing down.
Yeah. And do you live with a click in your head most of the time? Or are you kind of free of
Never
that?
leaves.
Okay. It's just something that's
it's in my footsteps. It's in the clock ticking. It's everywhere. I've always got to
feel that tempo. And does it bother you to be on the instrument that doesn't guide that sometimes? Like, I'm sure all the guys that are in the dirt bags are solid drummers because they're backing up a drummer. And do they all know that initially coming into the band?
It makes some of the drummers nervous.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They're like, oh shit, he went to college and like he teaches drums, and I just have a kit in my basement. I've been playing in this metal band for 4 years.
How many guys do you pull from the metal community specifically? That's so funny you said that.
Let's see. I've probably got two drummers who are metal drummers, and I've probably got like 2 bassists who are metal bassists.
Yeah. Do you find that there's a very big hard rock scene in Wisconsin?
I'm not as much part of it, but I kind of dip my toes into all of the scenes just because I book multi-genre events all the time.
Yeah. Like, what's the club that you do the open mic at, or at least you attend every once in a while? Like, it's
called Zach's Social Club. We do every Wednesday there.
And do you host that?
I host. Me and Andy Glass host that.
That's awesome.
We're drummer and bassist, the pro drummer and bassist that host it, but we also both play solo acoustic.
That's super cool.
So we'll jump up there and play solo to open up the show, and then anybody who comes up, like singer-songwriter, like some 22-year-old dude that knows 2 songs around a bonfire, and all of a sudden we're playing drums and bass with him, and he feels like he's in a full band.
Yeah, and to see that that spark for people for the first time is a pretty wild thing.
It's awesome. Last night we had a 14-year-old kid come with his mom, and this is his first time like playing in front of people. And he crushed it. He played that Something in the Orange song.
Yeah.
And we immediately booked him a couple months down the line for a featured spot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you do a feature spot at the open mic on Wednesdays?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I feel like having some kind of reward system built into that where, like, when I do the songwriters nights, like, I'm trying to encourage people to stick with just their material. It's like, if you can do an hour, 2 hours of your material, you're only going to do 7, 8 songs tonight. But this club might book you for that 2-hour slot, and they want to be just your shit. It's like you don't need to worry about the cover side of your stuff.
Yeah, we definitely encourage originals a lot, but we get some really beginners. So we're like, hey, do you want to get up on stage? All it takes is 3 chords, or all it takes is this one pop song that you already know the words to.
Yeah. So where does like your stage personality, where'd you really hone that skill? Because you're great on a microphone. You're great with the crowd. It seems like you really feed off of that kind of thing.
It's all a result of playing at dive bars where people weren't paying attention. So I would have to do something to grab their attention. I'm not a background guy. I'm not. Yeah. I can't just sit in the corner of a coffee shop and be like, thanks, everybody. This next little number is. No, that's not me.
Yeah. And so what was your first attempts to try to break into the field of their attention span? Like, what's the first couple antics that really started to sell it for you?
So when I was a little kid, Uncle Mad Dog would come over. He's not a dog. He's not my uncle. But he had a guitar. This was the first experience with anybody with an acoustic guitar. And I remember 2 songs that he played. The first one was Hound Dog by Elvis. And the other one was Chuck Berry's My Ding-a-Ling. So this all started by me playing, like, okay, nobody's paying attention. I'm going to play My Ding-a-Ling. And all of a sudden, like, these guys, like, I see the backs of their heads turn when I start singing My Ding-a-Ling, My Ding-a-Ling. I want you to play with My Ding-a-Ling. And people are just like, what did he just say?
So it was initially it was the comedy though, kind of pulled them back into it.
Yes.
At that point in time, did you have songs that were comedic in that kind of way?
Yeah, a little bit, but I didn't know how to deliver them really.
Yeah, and talk about learning to deliver, especially your own material that's not tried and true number one hits that are familiar.
Yeah, delivering your own songs, like my songs, I call them punchline folk punk. So
well,
like,
well labeled.
so I tell all my drummers and all my bassists the important thing is the lyrics in these songs because I'm telling jokes. And if people don't hear every word of the joke, the punchline doesn't make any sense. So you've got to stay quiet. You got to not do fills over the punchline. You've got to, choruses jam out, have fun, easy lyrics. Here we go. Verses are joke.
Yeah. And while you're writing those, do you go back and refine the jokes? Do you kind of clean it up like a typical comedian would? Or is it, no, the song has its inspiration, I write that out?
The joke is kind of written. What I refine is kind of the phrasing and the delivery.
Gotcha. And do you record a lot of shows so you can do that? Or is it felt good last night, I'm going to try a similar thing, but the specificity of it doesn't really matter?
Yeah, the specificity. I mean, I play so many shows that like it's rehearsal after rehearsal after rehearsal.
Yeah. Is there ever actually a rehearsal?
Never.
Cool.
When I have a new drummer or a new bassist, just to make them feel comfortable, we will do a rehearsal here and there. But for the most part, the rehearsal is the last show.
Yeah. Well, you have a likability about you that even when you're saying something that someone might find crass, crude, or fucked up, they like you saying it. It's like you're standing in this club in Cleveland with us, and you're between a funk band at the end and whoever the opener was that night. No one else.
It was just us.
Was it just us that night?
Yeah.
We both did like an hour and a half, maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
To start off a room cold and come in joke, chorus, joke, like that's brutal, man.
A room full of hipsters that no one knows me.
Yes, yeah. Do you find that you like that opportunity to get under their skin a little bit?
I love it. And throughout the show, I'm looking at everybody. Who's paying attention? Who's laughing at the jokes? Who's not? That person that's not, I'm going to find something. I'm going to get them.
Yeah.
I'm going to get them some way. And if I try and can't, I'm going to start calling them out. I'm going to start talking to them. I'm going to start saying, hey, you. Not being an asshole or anything, but the power of a microphone is something amazing.
Yeah. Well, and if you're willing to embrace the power, like a lot of people are afraid of that. Like I just started giving myself a wireless mic with my loop pedal. And it's like, wow, I build this technological advantage and I'm being too soft to step out and enjoy myself. Versus when I come to Wisconsin, I'm friends with the guys that will take the wireless that is already on the fritz. The guitar is actively cutting out. They're like, I'm going to go jump off the picnic table. It's like John Rouse broke his guitar last year, broke his wireless. The balls, it's like, I loved that.
Yeah, he really explores the space with his wireless.
Yeah. And is that something that you took from him, or is this just the same kind of thing? Like, I'm not going to be your corner musician in a bar.
Yeah, I definitely stole a little bit of at least the wireless antics from John.
Yeah.
And, while we're on topic, I stole everything. Everything I do is stolen from somebody.
Yeah.
Every joke that I say between songs, every like little funny movement or whatever I do, I got it all from somewhere.
Yeah. Well, when you look at the greats, it's like James Brown's not the first guy to fake faint on stage. Okay. Elvis was doing that. Someone was doing that before him. And you learn how to make these bits part of your show because there's certain things that you can't trademark and make it your thing. It's like you just need to embrace the fact that you're building up a bag of tricks that you can show these people. And however you're going to rope them back in, now you're selling you again. But you don't need to use yourself as the only bargaining chip. There's different interest pieces. When you're seeing folks come up and do the open mic, and they don't have any of those tricks for leading a show, for making a performance, do you pull folks aside and say, hey, try this, try that, here's 5 tips?
All the time. In fact, last night I got to – sometimes we have singers come into open jam that like don't play any instrument, but we'll play the songs that they know. And these people do karaoke, and they don't really – do these things around other musicians. And I got an opportunity to tell a girl last night, hey, when you're singing that Melissa Etheridge song and you're singing the soft verses and then you blast it out for the chorus, you got to move the mic away. Because you're giving more power, but you don't need to give more volume, just the power.
Yeah. You just need the intensity of it.
Right.
So when you're trying to coach someone with interacting with the crowd, like what are some of the initial tips you give folks?
To not give a shit. Just go for it. If you think it, say it. If it doesn't work, don't do it next show.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to offend them in the moment. It's like, it is what it is.
Right.
I was talking to my friend Chandler about this the other day. Like in our live show, when it's me and her, normally I'm going to do the speaking in between the songs. But even I feel timid, you know, and it's such an odd thing to work through. For you, was it a day that I stopped giving a shit? Or was it I stopped caring about this, I stopped caring about that, I moved on from this, and now we're just having fun?
I don't think it was much of a click moment. I think it was kind of gradual where I was just like, this, like I named myself Party Marty. Now I'm kind of creating this character. Yeah. Where, I mean, I'm not sitting up here getting wasted, but I'm giving everybody a good time. We're all having fun. We're all laughing.
Yeah. And when you started to refine the character, did it feel like something that was different from Marty Morgan? Or was it like, oh, this is just me accentuating these things about myself?
Yeah, I think it's me pulling out these little parts of my personality and making them huge.
That's a tough thing to know what to embrace and what not to embrace in that.
Right.
But you learn slowly. And like, you know, I think when it comes to barroom antics, you've done an amazing job of going in the room with the drunks and being the sober guy on stage and making them feel like you're riding that wave with them. You know, you're part of their journey. Has there been a learning curve to that? Or was it just, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be doing this, so I'm going to embrace this side?
There was definitely a learning curve at first. Like I just was not happy with being the guy in the corner of the room playing music. No, you're going to fucking pay attention.
Yeah.
We're going to have fun together, okay? You're not going to ignore me. I'm not going to ignore you. We're going to do this together. Here's a tambourine.
Was it difficult to learn how to pack all the things that are like physical parts of the show? Like, it seems like you have a pretty involved load-in process. If there's a bag of tambourines, then there's a bunch of ukuleles and a bunch of hot dog suits in a ukulele box, plus your normal PA and shit.
Yeah, I got pretty good at Tetris.
Good.
Pretty good at Tetris like us musicians do, you know?
Yeah. When did you turn the corner into a musical advocate for your community? Because you have this ability to tell someone, not only did you do great, but here's the next step. Here's the next show. Go play on this feature here. I want to put on a festival kind of thing.
Yeah, this all started because, like I told you, I was a drummer. And I was like, I want to play shows, but I don't have a band, so I'll just learn some songs. And then it's like, okay, I want to play shows. Who's going to book the shows? Well, I guess I will. Yeah. What bands are going to play? I don't know any bands. Well, I guess I'll meet some bands. So I just kind of took over roles because no one was doing it for me, so I started doing it.
Yeah. And do you find there's a lot of folks that see that example and mimic that thing? Or do you feel like as time goes on, you've started to do it for more and more people, and that proliferates?
There's definitely people who have tried to follow my lead. It kind of tickles me when some people are like, you know, your festival, I want my festival to be like that. Or, like, you know how you throw shows, I want to throw shows like that. Like when people just say things like that, whether they're doing it or not, it makes me feel like I'm making a little bit of an impact.
You certainly are. I mean, for a guy that came from a similar style of life, but a different part of the world, it's like you walk in and you can see that Party Marty has something to give here. And it's not just your show, your songs. It's the culture of it. And you curate those things well. And I can tell you put blood, sweat, and tears behind that. And you're going to keep doing it because you're a fucking madman.
Yeah, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, even though it looks sloppy and unrehearsed. And maybe it is, but there's a purpose to it. You know, there's a song that we play called Stumbling Band. And like if this were written on a sheet of music, on the top left, it would say drunkenly.
Yeah. Yes. In quotations.
Right. Like that's the style of the song.
And you guys jump out in the crowd and put your bodies on the line for that kind of thing. Like, I'm sure
Yes.
that is a rehearsed bit. To be safe but still be stumbling is a pretty bizarre antic, you know?
Yeah. So the stumbling band is one that, like, naturally the words I'm singing make me like, this is how the song goes.
Yeah.
And like when it's more intense, like I do some more jumping around and more just screwing around. And then I've learned that I cannot open up an awesome show with that song.
Yeah.
I cannot.
No, it's
Because
too
the rest
chaotic.
of the song, the rest of the set, I'm just like, I have actually before opened up with that song and then immediately ready to start the next song and at Glacier Valley and where there's the pavilion and there's windows. I had to go over to the window and puke out the window because I had been jumping around so much. It was so hot during the day and I was playing at like 7 at night and I'd been in the sun all day and I just jumped around.
You're driving a golf cart, going over a bunch of bumps, going forward. You're like, you were primed to puke, and that song was just like the perfect roller coaster mix.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've learned. Like there's certain songs my vocals cannot do right away in the song, right away in the set. And there's Stumbling Band, which my body cannot do early in the set.
And that's a brilliant thing to point out to people is like, you're going to find that you want to put a certain energy behind a song, and it needs to be towards the end so you can preserve and persevere through this and still wrap up the show. Because if you give it 100% when you have a full tank, you're going to have a quarter tank left, and it's going to be messy, you know?
Right. Like if I opened with 2 wieners at once, everyone's going to be looking around like, what are they going to do next?
Yes, exactly. Well, and you've already, the dynamic of the day is kind of shot at that point. Like you need to lead up to the super mega hit song, you know, and then there needs to be the other hit song, you know. Has the set list become a pretty set in stone thing because of that?
Yeah. When I've got my A team, we've got some more songs that we can pull in, but generally, yeah, it pretty much stays the same. There's like 3 or 4 different covers that we rotate through, but the originals are pretty much the same because there's this antic that I've got to have. And there's this song that people are going to request. And I've got the t-shirts for this song, so I got to play it. And I've got the tattoo for this song, so I got to play it. And
how many people have the tattoo now?
11.
That's awesome.
Speaking of being a cult.
Yeah. So I'm standing
this
at
one, I think we got 10 people with this one too.
You're brilliant, Marty. I'm standing at Summerfest, and this guy shows me his Dirtbags tattoo, but then goes on to tell me about how much it means to him. And it's like, that is not the tattoo that I expected to be sentimental and touchy-feely with the stranger. But it is your cult, you know? It is this this personality thing. It's interesting the way that's tied into folks that have said like, no, I'm my own dirtbag, and I've given up my old dirtbag lifestyle. Like it's an aura of improvement, and I think that's a really interesting thing to see happen. Yeah,
the Dirtbag song is all about how all of our favorite people, all of our best friends, are not perfect, are nowhere near. Maybe they smoke cigarettes, maybe they got arrested once, maybe they're ugly, maybe they smell bad, but like I still love them.
Yeah. And that open arms mentality has definitely brought you a fan base that feels different for that reason.
Yeah, it's a magical moment when I get to the song Dirtbags, and I'll get to the end of the song and I'll say, you're a dirtbag, and you're a dirtbag, and you're a dirtbag. And people are just like, oh, I'm a dirtbag. And I just feel so happy that I can call my friends dirtbags, and they just feel so warm about it.
When you first wrote that song and you started to deliver it, did that one take some serious work on how you get people to love that moment?
That one happened organically. That one, like I started playing the song, and when I get to this certain point in the song, it's just like, it's like where the bridge builds up back into the chorus, and I'm like, this is how much these dirtbags mean to me, and you're a dirtbag, and you're a dirtbag, and you're a dirtbag, and I'm just calling people out, and it's just and then the boom. And I just felt it, and I always sang this to my dirtbag friends, so I wanted to, like, this song's about you.
And then it slowly became everybody in the crowd gets to be a dirtbag, and you get to bring them in this kind of way.
Yep.
Do you ever write songs?
Temporary tattoos now.
No, no, I need this. Please bring me one for Summerfest. That's awesome.
You got it.
Do you ever write the bit before you write the song? Like you have the concept of what the joke is or what the stage antic is, and then you need to build around that thing?
Yeah, sometimes some of the songs, the punchline comes first.
And
Like,
that seems
I
like a
wrote
fun
the song,
puzzle.
I might be late, but I'll be there. And that's the basis of the song. That's the punchline. And everything else came around that one line.
Yeah. It's a great line too. It's honest.
It's
Well,
too honest.
do you feel like you're going to be touring in the off season after the summer?
Yes, I have an album recorded that I am gathering the funds to release.
Okay, cool.
This album is going to be released on vinyl only for like 3 or 4 months before it ever goes digital. And it will also come with transcriptions of all the songs.
How expensive is it going to be to do the vinyl order, and how many are you going to do?
I want to do like 200 vinyl. Vinyl is like expensive.
Very. And such a back order
too. It take a long time too.
So is that kind of the first stepping stone of, I know when this is going to be out because I placed the order for the vinyl and they told me when it's going to be here?
Yeah, so I've looked up a lot of timelines. I have a whole like, what do I want to say? A whole kind of campaign that once I order the vinyl, that whole campaign starts.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I've loved doing, it's in Brooklyn. It's a company called Least of All, and they'll do direct-to-vinyl recordings. It'd be really cool that once you finish, live performances. So say Party Marty asks for Tornado. You drop the needle, and the first thing you hear is, Marty, we're sitting here right now, and we're so grateful you ordered this. It's like it is completely direct to you. It'd be cool after the strict vinyl order, once it's online, to go give some people some particulars if they were feeling it.
And that would be awesome. I have seen Least of All stuff, and a lot of friends' bands have done that, and I think it looks awesome.
Yeah, man, it's a good time. It's a nice studio and whatnot. It's fun. Do you feel like you'll do a total like East Coast tour, or what do you think the parameters are going to be for that?
Well, I've got it in the plans for once the digital releases start happening. I start pushing those in certain areas. I've got 3 tours planned. One from Wisconsin down to Texas and back. One all on the East Coast and one all on the West Coast.
Hot diggity damn, brother. That sounds awesome. What's like the length of each tour? Like how many dates you want to do?
I think they're all 2-week tours.
Okay. When you're gearing up for something like that, is it financially difficult with the band? Or are they pretty understanding that we'll split this up when we get home? In the meantime, it's a surviving kind of a deal. Like how do you run that?
The way I do tours, because all the merch is stuff that I've invested in, not the rest of the band. All of the songs are something I've written, not with the band. All of the music, I've done that by myself. So like all of that stuff was not necessarily a band effort, but the tour is. So I hire guys just to play the music. I say, you come on 2-week tour. I will get us a place to stay everywhere. I will get us all our food. I will book us all the shows. Only thing you have to pay for is your alcohol and your other fun stuff.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the tour, if we're in the green, great.
Yeah. And then divide up the show pay between guys, kind of a deal?
Yeah, it all depends on how much merch has been depleted from the stock.
Yeah.
And if we had some emergencies on the road and
as one does.
Yeah.
Well, it's just always good to hear how band leaders facilitate that kind of thing. I'm a flat rate guy. It's like, hey, weekdays you're making this, weekends you're making this, and I know you're missing out on other work while you're out there, so I'll pay you for travel days and whatnot. But, you know, outside of we have a place to stay tonight, you got to pay for your food. I'm packing a cooler. I'm going to live late. You can do the same or you can ball out. I really don't care. That's up to you. And if we get a bar tab and things like that, those are all great features of it. But it's hard as a band leader and the songwriter to steer guys in a direction that makes it feel like, oh, they're getting as much as they can out of this.
Right. I try to make it like, I mean, you know, for musicians, sometimes playing a show costs money.
Yeah.
Because you just drove 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back. You spent 4 hours there. You bought 4 drinks there. You tipped the bartender. Now we're in the red.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to make sure that my guys like are at least not in the red for their shows.
Yeah. And do you find that the touring experience is really meaningful for a lot of the guys in the band? Does everyone come back saying,
yeah, I've only done a couple tours, and my first couple were solo, and then I did 1 2-week tour down to Texas and back with the band. And then we've done weekend runs here and there.
Mm-hmm. Weekend runs feel like sometimes the only way for me to facilitate. Like I do 3 weeks in town, 1 week on the road every month, and that way I can start to gauge what markets are working, what cities are working, what venues are working, who do I need to really connect with to make this possible. It's like, unless there's a special occasion like a Summerfest or something like that, then I'm going to stay in Cincinnati until it's that week, and then I'm trying to stay cool and calculated and consistent on that kind of thing. When it comes to finding those
big city.
For sure.
I'm in southern Wisconsin, so I'm trying to get an hour away from home 2 of the 3 weekend days.
Yeah, dude, that's brutal. I can't imagine that gas costs, and just living that way takes a toll that people don't appreciate what it is. And they ask you why you do it. And it's hard to give a 2-line answer on why we do it.
Yeah, and it's tough to like be a teacher of young kids saying, yeah, be a musician. There's no insurance, and you have to pay your own dental, and your cars break down, and there's no 401k, and yeah, be a musician.
And there's a side eye you get from all your friends that went the more traditional route. Just like, how are you making that work? And it's like, I just am. I'm on that path. Like, I'm grateful I got a spouse now, and I can live off her health care. And
nice.
Between us, we have a nice balance of things. But when you're just doing it for yourself, and also like you and I are able to go out and play solo acoustic shows. The drummers can't, the horn players can't. It's like you need to learn your ability to make this happen, because if it's not sustainable, then don't do it till you're in the dirt,
Right.
When you start to do a 2-week tour like that in the planning process, what's your pitch when you reach out to venues? How do you kind of make the point of what you do and who you are?
It depends on the venue. I approach differently for every venue. If it's a basement show, I'm going to tell them, I'm going to give it to them straight. Say, we're going to entertain the shit out of however many people you have in that basement, and it's going to be a riot. Yeah. If it's like a venue more like Coda, like you and I played at, I might come at it a little softer and say, hey, we've got a lot of songs that everybody recognizes. We can cover this much. We can handle all the sound. We can do this, and just tell them that I got all this covered. You don't have to worry about a thing.
Yeah. And do you find that reaching for the 3-4 hour slots and saying, I'll bring the PA and I'll do the covers, that's an easier approach than finding an original venue that's going to squeeze you between 2 bands and kind of prime you that way?
I think it's easier to find the shows with other bands, because usually the people that are putting you on those shows are other musicians and they know what it is. Yeah. But when I reach out to some random place saying, do you want to pay me $500 to play for 3 hours and I've never been to your city before? They're like, maybe not.
You better have a built-in audience for that kind of thing.
Right. Or have the set list that their audience is going to like no matter what.
Yeah. Do you send a set list with those kind of things to kind of make the point of what you play?
Yeah. And actually, I do that more than I even send them audio.
Interesting. Just because it gets a point across, like we play #1 hits plus our stuff.
Yeah.
Do you tell them you're going to play your stuff?
There's a whole list of songs we play, from Johnny Cash to Green Day, and we can do all this stuff. And we're going to play some original songs that are kind of comedy songs. And I just throw it in like that.
Yeah. I found that I was feeling empty. I was feeling kind of down about what I was playing at shows maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And I decided like anything less than half of my stuff and some cover work wasn't going to make me happy. And I made that switch, and no one really batted an eye about it. But if I was reaching out to a new club that I knew wouldn't be receptive to just my original stuff, I wouldn't tell them that. I just do it, and I hope that it was under the radar enough. But then there's something like 2 Ears at Once is nowhere near under the radar by any stretch of the imagination.
No, but hopefully a cold venue like that, I played 2.5 hours, and now I'm going to play the smash hit, and they're like, okay, we kind of get how ridiculous this guy is.
Yeah. So you wait till you're 2 hours in to give a new crowd that kind of thing, or do you feed them the little comedic bits like, if you are going to take a 4-hour gig or a 3-hour gig and split it up with your tunes, what's the ratio?
I'll do 3 sets, usually 45 minutes each or something. And then each set will have 2 or 3 originals splashed in.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I play an original, I'm explaining to you, this is a song we wrote. It's about this, and it's this and this and this. And I talk to them to grab them first.
Yeah.
Whereas the cover songs, I might just start playing, not even talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or just be like, this is a song by my good friend Johnny Cash.
I'm kind of in a similar category right now where it's like, hey, you're going to know the stuff that's not mine. But if it's one of my songs, I'm going to be giving you context. I'm trying to preface this so that you're ready to take it in,
Right, exactly. I'm going to set it up. Like when I say, hey, this song is written about the time that I was homeless and sleeping on the beach in San Francisco, people are like, oh, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it's a tedious process. So when you are selling yourself to new people in that kind of way, and then you get there and you give them the show that you do you feel like you've accumulated a lot of venues over the length of a career that you can now call on for a 2-week tour on the East Coast, 2 weeks on the West Coast, and then, dude, going Wisconsin, Texas? Like, how long of a drive is that?
Well, I mean, we stopped a lot of ways on the way down, but
if it was going to be direct, is that 15 hours? Is that 20 hours? I have no perception of the length of the country.
I've driven straight down to Alabama, and I want to say it was like 12 hours.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
It's not terrible.
No.
Maybe I'm totally wrong, though.
Yeah. And when you do your touring, do you just do it in one of the guys' cars? Do you rent a car? How do you like to vibe that out?
I've done it in my car before. We did rent a U-Haul one time, a U-Haul trailer.
U-Haul, I find to be one of the easiest ways to go about it. It's like, hey, I can get insurance on this thing that's not based on my gear insurance, so I have twice the coverage. No one's going to break into a U-Haul because they have a fear that's going to be strictly dish soap and like leftover chairs from like your buddy's move. First, if you have a nice, pimped out trailer with your logo on the side, it's like, well, I'm going to steal that right now, actually. Like that
has guitars in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, clearly this is going to be a good snag. There's something odd about trying to stay under the radar when you are traveling in that kind of a way. Do you do like the windshield covers and all that stuff and try to take as much gear inside a hotel or?
Yeah, I've got a dash cam on the car. We try to bring in the stuff that's temperature sensitive, or somebody's being a wuss about it, so they need to bring it inside.
Yeah. What was the calling to get the dash cam? Because I've been thinking about doing that. And I want to know what pushed somebody over the edge to get it.
Fuck the police.
Yes. Well, like to be able to have your speed on there and to be able to cite that back in a courtroom is a very important thing.
Yeah. For me, it was more of when cops want to do things that they're not necessarily allowed to do, and they think that they're the only ones watching. And the fact that a dash cam exists makes them think twice about doing those things.
Yeah. And how do you have that set up? Does it run front and back and then like record onto itself and you can pull it off for a week?
Yeah, so I've got it right up by my mirror and it faces front, faces at me, and then there's one on the back windshield that faces back.
Yeah. What was it like to wire that thing up? Is it just Party Marty going through there with electrical tape, or you go somewhere for this kind of thing? Nice.
I put it all right under the corners of the car.
Yeah. All right, you may have just sold me on getting one of those. I got to get my shit together because I don't trust that when I'm on the road. It's like there's all these ifs about what can go on in there, and it's like to have your own documentation of events is important.
Yeah, and there's dash cams that you get that you can be parked and it'll be off, and if there's movement or something, it'll turn on all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. That's the way to go for sure. Well, as we start to conclude, brother, tell them where they can follow you, where it's important to be looking for your stuff.
Party Marty, you can Google me. I'm not the bald guy that teaches guitar lessons on YouTube. I'm the other Party Marty.
Nice.
PartyMartyMusic.com. Party Marty Music on Instagram. Party Marty Party on Facebook. I like to tell people that they can find me on all the social media. I'm on Snapchat. I'm on Grindr.
Bang. Listen, I had a buddy who's telling me that he met a girl on Hinge, I looked up her Instagram, and it looks like she has an OnlyFans. I was like, I bet she's selling her OnlyFans on Hinge. Like, this may not be like she's in. He goes, people do that? And I was like, people definitely do that. I know some friends that when they're touring, they'll get on Tinder and they'll just go to the city. They'll swipe everybody just to promote the show to a bunch of chicks that are going to show up. It's like, it's a little unethical, but silly. Whatever you got to do, you know? You got some good memes in stock. It's time to throw them around.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to search online for a companion, sorry, here's a show flyer.
Well played.
Right.
And then your festival, Glacier Valley Music Festival, is going to be
June 7th and 8th this year in Cambria, Wisconsin.
Cool. Parking passes and all that available now?
$40 per person. That includes camping, and that's all paid at the door.
Cool. Strictly cash operation? You take card?
They'll take card there, yep.
Okay.
But we don't do advance tickets, no matter how many of the Facebook scammers tell you that we do.
Dude, that's got to be bizarre. Like, you know you're doing it well when you got Facebook scammers, brother. You're living well.
Yeah, the event will be like, hey, I've got 2 extra tickets that I can't make the event. Can somebody take it? And I'm like, we don't sell tickets. Tickets aren't a thing that exists.
Yeah, bang, idiot. So what's the capacity of the campground? Have you ever gotten close to it?
I don't think we've ever gotten close to the capacity. I mean, it's private property, and we've got tons of woods and field that anybody can set up tents in.
Yeah. So it could get pretty rowdy out there.
Yeah, if it got to a point where it was really big, we could have 1,000, 1,500 people. I mean, at that point, we're hiring a lot more security and a lot more staff, but
yeah,
the place can hold it.
How do you staff security for that kind of thing?
My requirements for my security this year was don't be small, don't look like a chump, and smile a lot.
This is a beautiful thing, brother. And
I literally only hire security to wear the word on their back. I just want people to see that, okay, this isn't a free-for-all. Somebody's watching.
Yes. Yeah, we do have a way of making sure this stays calm and cool. You know, there's no chaos to be had.
Right. We're not looking for people with drugs. We're not looking for people to get anybody in trouble. We're not looking for people who are drunk. Like, we're just making sure nobody's getting hurt.
Yes. Well, you do a beautiful thing with that festival. You do a beautiful thing with Summerfest. And you are just the most lovable maniac, Marty. And I appreciate your friendship, and I appreciate you coming on today. So,
yeah, thank you, brother.
My friends, thanks for watching The Weekly Wave. Party Marty, make sure you find them where you like to find them. Peace, players.
Peace.